in the mountains of Switzerland. A secret has been buried for 80 years. Armored vaults, secret tunnels, blood-stained gold. During World War II, while millions were dying in concentration camps, Swiss banks were getting rich. Gold stolen from Jews, melted, resold, laundered. And for 50 years, no one said a word. Until 1996, when a report leaked, and the world discovered the truth. Swiss neutrality was a lie. This is the story of the biggest money laundering scheme in history. A scheme built on genocide. World War II begins. Europe is in flames. Hitler invades country after country. But Switzerland, it remains neutral. It doesn't enter the war. It doesn't take sides. And the Swiss banks, they had a golden rule. Absolute banking secrecy. No questions, no judgment. Deposits from anyone, anywhere. It sounded noble. Financial protection in times of chaos. But there was a problem. The Nazis realized something. If Switzerland accepts money from anyone, it accepts ours. And they had a lot of gold. Gold stolen from murdered Jews. Gold ripped from teeth. From jewelry. From the vaults of invaded central banks. And the Swiss banks, they accepted it all, without asking a single question. Let's understand how the scheme worked. Step 1. The Nazis invade a country, let's say Poland. They confiscate everything. Gold from central banks. National reserves. But also gold from people. Jewish families are forced to hand over jewelry, wedding rings. Everything. Then they are sent to concentration camps. And there, even their gold teeth are torn from their bodies. Step 2. All that gold goes to Berlin. It's melted down, turned into clean bars. The original markings disappear, the origins erased. Step 3. The gold is shipped to Switzerland, in armored trains, crossing the neutral border. Swiss banks accept the bars, no questions asked. Step 4. The Nazis use that gold to buy weapons, oil, food, technology. Neutral countries like Sweden, Portugal, Turkey, all accepted Swiss gold, because Swiss gold was trustworthy. Switzerland was the washing machine. And the profit, banks collected transaction fees. Millions, tens of millions. Built on piles of bodies. Between 1939 and 1945, Switzerland received more than $400 million in today's value, gold, over $6 billion. The war ends. The Nazis are tried at Nuremberg. The world discovers the horrors of the Holocaust. But Switzerland, it stays silent. The Swiss banks claim, we didn't know the origin of the gold. We were just intermediaries. Banking secrecy, we can't reveal anything. And it worked. For decades, no one investigated. Switzerland remained the world's financial paradise, but things began to surface. 1950s, Holocaust survivors tried to access bank accounts of relatives. The banks refuse. They say no records exist. They demand death certificates from people killed in gas chambers. 1970s, journalists start asking questions. Banks refuse to cooperate. 1980s, international pressure grows, but Switzerland does not yield. Their argument? It was a long time ago, not our problem. Entire families were exterminated. Their gold was in Swiss vaults. And the banks simply kept everything. Everything changes. A security guard named Christoph Meili works at the Union. One night, he sees something strange. Documents being destroyed, piles and piles of them. Bank records from the 1940s. He grabs some, hides them, and leaks them to the press. The bomb explodes. The documents prove Holocaust victims' accounts were kept secret. Banks knew the gold was stolen. Transactions with Nazis continued until the end of becomes
the
an
war.
international hero. But in Switzerland, he's prosecuted for violating banking secrecy. He flees to the United States, seeks asylum. Global pressure becomes unbearable. The United States threatens sanctions. Jewish organizations demand justice. 1997, Swiss banks finally agree to open their archives. Over 54,000 dormant accounts, 125 billion in unclaimed assets. Evidence of systematic destruction of records. It was worse than anyone imagined. 1998, a historic settlement. Swiss banks pay 1.25 billion in reparations to Holocaust survivors, to heirs. But many say that is nothing compared to what was stolen. The gold, most was never returned. It remains buried in vaults. Or was sold, laundered, lost in the system. Today, Switzerland is still the financial center of the world. Swiss banks are still synonymous with secrecy and security. But that security was built on blood. Swiss prosperity was not neutral. It was complicit. While the world burned, they profited. And the real question, how much Nazi gold is still in Swiss vaults? How much was never discovered? The banks claim they returned everything, but the records were destroyed, the trails erased. The full truth we will never know. What we do know is this. Every gold bar had a story. A destroyed family, a stolen life. And for 50 years, Swiss banks slept peacefully. Rich, respected, untouchable. The perfect scheme. The secret Swiss gold operation. Where neutrality was just another word for complicity. Where banking secrecy protected genocide. Where prosperity was built on piles of bodies. And the question remains, how many other secrets are still buried, waiting to be uncovered? Between 1933 and 1945, their gold funded the Nazi war machine, were murdered, and filled Swiss vaults.